Hi guys, welcome to Beginning Piano, Day 1. Thus begins your musical journey. So I want you guys to see if you can't remember this moment when you are an absolute beginner on this instrument that you are just going to have a lot of fun with this year. It's sometimes hard to remember not being able to play your instrument. So it's a really exciting journey that you're embarking on. And when you can remember it, it's always mind-blowing to see how far you've come after a certain length of time. So day 1, da-da-da-da, we're just gonna jump right in. First, some quick hand exercises. It's always good to warm up the hands, keep them looser. You guys are young, so you might not feel it now, but when you get to be my age, you definitely want to be in the habit of getting your hands nice and limber and warmed up, okay? So just closing the fists, expanding them out, moving them side to side, up and down, back and forth. If you ever feel any pain, now this is really important to remember, if you ever feel pain, stop whatever you're doing. And if maybe you're in the middle of practicing and you're like, oh, my hand really hurts, then just stop. Tell me what's going on so I can really address and talk to you and figure out what it is that's causing pain. So if it's absolutely painful, just stop whatever you're doing. Don't keep pushing through the pain because you might be hurting something. At the same time, let's say you've got like a little sore on your finger because you got a sticker in it or something. That's a different kind of pain. So if you can push through that, more power to you, okay? So first things first, by the end of today, really, you'll be able to see and be able to play stuff like this. And I just made that up. I totally did not even plan that. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on today. If you don't get to that point, it's totally all right. Really, music is about pushing your own limits. So there is no competition with anybody but yourself. So it's always neat to see how far you can get. But if you don't get where you think you should have been, as long as you kept trying, that's how you win in music. All right, so first things first, if you hold up all your fingers and wiggle them all, they have certain numbers to them. So give yourself a double thumbs up and point at yourself with those thumbs and say, me, I'm number 1 because I'm doing piano. I'm number 1, me, me, me. And if you think of your little thumbs as talking to each other, I'm number 1, hi, me, 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 no, I'm number 1. Kind of like that. This finger is always finger number 1. And if that's number 1, here's number 2. Here's number 3, number 4, number 5. Let's see if we can do them really fast. So hold your fingers out like this, and you're going to wiggle them with me when I call off a number. Number 2. Number 5. Number 3. Number 1. Number 4. That one's kind of hard to wiggle on its own. Number 2. Number 1. Number 4. Number 3. Number 5. Number 2. Number 1. Number 4. Number 6. Hopefully you don't have 6 fingers, but if you do, kudos to you. Sweet. So we're going to take these fingers, and it doesn't even matter where you go on piano. I like to find this key. It kind of looks like a little doghouse. You're actually going to learn more about that key next week. But do you see how it's in the middle of 2 blacks? And the only other time it happens is, here's one. Okay, it's in the middle of 2 blacks. I say the only other time. It actually happens quite a few times. Here's another one. But you actually have to go quite a distance in order to find it again. So that key in between the 2, that's a nice good landmark key. You could even go, here's one that doesn't have in the middle, 2 on one side, 3 on the other, and you could say pick this one. And then you find a duplicate, there it is, 2 on one side, 3 on the other, and you find the one on that side, kind of looks like a little L. Regardless, I'm actually going to go with this first one. It doesn't matter which key you choose as long as you choose the same key on both sides, so on both hands. And you're going to take your lowest finger. Now, if you listen to a piano versus, you hear how it gets lower as you go down here to your left. And you hear how it goes higher as you get up here to your right. So your left hand, you're going to find the lowest finger, which is finger number 5, and put it on one of those notes. Now I'm going to use this one for now, okay? Each of your fingers is going to touch a white key. Now, the white keys are really long, so if you have really long fingers or a really short thumb, you can actually stretch your fingers up just a little bit past these black key points. What you don't want to do, though, is go really flat with your hand like this. So you want to imagine that you're holding a snowball. Okay, it's been really hot recently, so just imagine those wonderful snowy winter months where you could totally make a snowball and throw it at your sister. No, I'm kidding. Actually, you're building a snowman. That's what you're doing, right? So imagine you've got that beautiful snowman in your hand, and if you take that snowball for that snowman, and it melts, then it would form a little puddle here in your palm. You can kind of see how that's curved. So if it looks like this, like a little panther claw, if it looks like that, it's going to be really hard to play. If it's completely flat, it's going to be really, really hard to play. But if you can keep a nice curve, then these tips right here, that's what's going to actually touch on your piano keys. And you just take your snowball hand and flip it over and set it down. One thing that's really easy to do is to let this wrist get lazy. So if you collapse it like this, can't really see it, maybe more like this. You see how collapsed my wrist is? That's not good. You can see the keys, but everything else about it really hurts. And that's actually causing me immense pain already. So you want a nice straight wrist like this. And you can even practice lifting up your whole arm and setting it down. Kind of like that. You just want to make sure your wrist isn't collapsing. I always challenge my private students to see if they can do this with their eyes closed and just lift up their fingers and put them down and see if they can get a bunch of notes. Now that's cheating, so you can't do that. You gotta curve those fingers and see how many notes you can get. But you see how there's like this nice round, it's like I'm holding a ball, like a snowball in my hands, both of them. All right, so coming back. So I'm gonna take this fifth finger, curve those fingers, and put it on that note, which actually happens to be a D, but it's the one in the middle here. My right hand, oh yeah, and then I'm gonna put all my fingers on the white keys. Now my right hand, the lowest finger here is actually my thumb, finger number 1. So I'm gonna put it in that same spot so it looks the same, and then one finger on each of the white keys as well, okay? Now one more thing about the wrists is if you find yourself trying to do this with your wrist, just to make your thumb the same length as your pinky, that's another big painful moment maker right there. So you want to make sure that your wrist is straight. It doesn't have to be like rigid. You see how my knuckles are like popping out and blah, okay? So you want to just keep your fingers nice and loose, but no weird funky angles in the wrist. If you do need more space for that little thumb because it's not reaching, just scoot your hand up just a little bit. You see how my middle finger is now above there. Okay, so there we go. Now, if you can get all those fingers and just push down at the same time, and all 10 of those white keys are playing, ooh, that kind of sounds cool, then you know that you're doing it right because you've got a finger on each key. All right, so here's the first little exercise is to take one of your hands, doesn't even matter which one, I'm going to start with my right, and I'm going to start at finger number 1 and go all the way up to finger number 4. Okay, the goal is to make one note play at a single time. So like this. And then if I come down, I can re-hit this or not. But what you're trying to work towards is a clean sound for each note and not something like this. Kind of sounds haunting, but for this exercise, we want just one note at a time. Just like that, okay? Once you can do it with your right hand, and again, when I say you can do it, I want you to try. If you can't nail it perfectly, if you go really, really slow, that's okay. And if you get most of the fingers, but like one finger's dragging, it's usually the ring finger. Sometimes it's the pointer. It may sound like this. Like that. That's still okay because this is your first day, you are learning, and I love that you've made it this far. So if there's a little hiccup like that, don't worry about it. It'll clear itself out the more that you play, okay? So that is your goal. That doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up today, but that is your goal to work towards. So once you've done one hand, go to the other hand. Same thing. Start with your thumbs. Cool. And then obviously you would probably pause the video right now and you can play along with me previously, or you can do it for your own for a while. But then the next steps, I'm going to keep on going through some of these buildups. And we're going to spend a couple of weeks on this. So don't you guys worry at all. I just want to show you the progression and what's possible. If that's all you work on this week is just one hand, 5 fingers, and the other hand, if you get that far, then kudos to you. Booyah. That's what I'm talking about, okay? But what you could do past that point is play both hands, at the same time. So start with the same finger numbers. So I'm going to start with my 2 thumbs and pointers. Doesn't that sound cool and haunting? Sounds like October already. Now the trick to doing this one right is not to go fast until you're ready, because you want to make sure that those notes are hitting at the same time. So not like this. And I see how this one's even dragging behind. Now, if you want it to sound like that and that's your intention, great. But if you're trying to play at the same time, you want to make sure they play at the same time. So that's kind of your second level right there. All right, moving up, third level. All right, third level is, again, same hands, but instead of going outwards and in, you go in the same direction and then back down. This one's really tricky because the only finger that plays the same is going to be that middle finger. Otherwise, your pinky and thumb are playing, your ring and your pointer. Here's the middles, pointer and ring, and then thumb and pinky again here. So that's why it's so tricky. And you want to go super slow on this. So check it out. Yeah. Now you see how my fingers also are not popping up. So I'm not quite doing this. I'm actually surprised I hit all those notes, because usually you will hit a lot of wrong notes if you do it that way. So you want to always remember to keep your fingers curved, okay? All right, now, if you make it to that point, I mean, booyah, you guys. I did not expect anybody to actually make it to low to high to low, because that's tough already. But if you do make it that far, then maybe try moving your hands to a different spot, maybe one down. It's got a completely different feel behind it. What if I moved one up? Ooh, that sounds kind of cool. Ooh, one more. What if I come down here to this note? See how I'm on the side of the 3? That one almost sounds like it's waiting for something, waiting for you to just come around a corner and it's going to go boo at you. So wherever you go on the piano, you get all these different feelings. And so kind of explore back and forth, see where you go, especially when you do the opposite fingers. That kind of sounds neat. What if I do this one, this haunting, this sneaky one again? See what it sounds like. Ooh. Now that one's really coming after you. Okay, so you can kind of explore around there. I'm really going to quick show you the next steps, but the next couple of weeks are going to be a good focus on those steps. So don't worry about them, but I want you to see, again, what's possible so that you can end up with that thing that I had just kind of randomly played at the beginning. So the fourth step then, so the first step was one hand at a time. Second step was both hands in, with the same fingers. Third step is both hands but going in the same direction. 1, 2, 3. I just forgot what I said. Fourth step then is keep one finger down longer on one of your hands. Here's a case in point. Let's say I use my outside 2 fingers on my left hand because those are kind of easy to push. And I'm just going to hold them down while this hand plays. Ooh. If I switch hands. And if I build off of there, so step 5, then you kind of see how this is just holding longer. That didn't sound very musical. So what if I change the length I hold it? So how about this? That sounded pretty nice. So when you're playing, you do kind of want to pay attention to if something sounds good or feels right to you. Because that's how music really, that's how music is. That's why it's so popular. That's why people keep on trying to play it. That's probably why you're even here, because you probably heard something that you just loved. And it's just fun that you get to play an instrument too. So always kind of be sensitive and aware and pay attention to how music makes you feel, especially when you're the one that's playing it. All right, here's a couple more variations off of that. I could go finger back and forth. Oh, that's cool. What if I also, instead of going in a line, what if I change direction? Ooh. Or even... Ooh. So again, this is like level 20. I think I skipped like a gazillion levels right there. But something like that. I mean, if you really look at that, that's just me using these same 5 notes at different times. So if you made it to this far through the video and you're like, whoa, I could totally do that. Great, booyah. If you're like, I hope I get there by the end of the year. I hope I get there by May. Great. And I promise it won't take you until May to get that far. I swear it. Okay. So at least if you keep going with this and practice. Now, I do want to encourage you guys to play the piano like 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes is easy. So that's like how long it takes you to eat a bowl of cereal, for example. So maybe that's all you do. That was like barely half a minute. And then go and do something else. Come back. Cool. Go do something else. Come back. Cool. Go. See, even just that much, it adds up over time. So you don't even have to be sitting at a piano for 10 minutes solid, although that is helpful as well. But as long as you're playing on your instrument, I mean, it is called playing music for a reason. I mean, I really wouldn't say go work your instrument, right? Because that sounds horrifying. But go play your instrument. Enjoy it, guys. And I'm delighted that you're embarking on this musical journey with me. I know you haven't seen my face yet, but you will someday soon. So take care in the meantime, guys. Happy playing. And if you do have any questions, just send me a message there through Google Classrooms. I'd be happy to answer them. If you can, and your folks want to send like a video, for example, of you playing. I don't know if Google Classroom will support videos. I actually have no idea. But you guys can also email me. So folks, if you are listening in, it's just kathleen.mcirvin@aurorak12.org. So my name should be everywhere around school, Google Classroom. So you should be able to find it. If nothing else, you can always email Mrs. Gore and say, hey, we want to send this video to Miss McIrvin. How do we do that? So I would love to see videos of you guys playing. Even if it's just, getting your snowball fingers going. That even just a video just of that would be really cool. So happy playing again, guys, and I'll catch up with you next week. Bye.